The President of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, has announced that he can solve Haiti's violent gang problem that seems to be on the path of tearing the country apart, with ruthless armed gangs burning police stations, invading prisons to free convicts, and destroying both private and public properties. While reacting to a post by Ian Miles on X that said, "Haiti has collapsed, the president is no longer in the country, the ports are officially closed, and cannibal gangs are besieging the National Palace in Port-au-Prince," Nayib Bukele said that he can fix the same, but will require three things first. The three requirements being, a United Nations Security Council resolution, second, a consent of the host country, or rather willingness by Haitians to be helped, and thirdly, a commitment by the United Nations to cover all the mission expenses. But with such a bold offer, perhaps lots of people have been left wondering how Bukele will likely solve Haiti's gang problem, and without saying much, a simple answer to this is that he will likely export his gang control policy, or let's say strategy, which he implemented in El Salvador, and successfully brought down the country's ruthless and hardcore gangs in less than 4 years. Then just briefly, here is the strategy that Nayib Bukele used in El Salvador to crack down on the most feared South American gangs that had taken the country hostage for so many years. For decades, vicious and rogue gangs had essentially operated as a parallel government in El Salvador, where they set unofficial policies for the people, and the people had no recourse, and they were able to operate without being subjugated to traditional law enforcement and judicial processes. It was basically like being ruled over by barbarians, and terror was how they operated. But shortly after Nayib Bukele was elected in 2019, El Salvador began imprisoning thousands and thousands of gang members, with the MS-13 gang, which was South America's most feared gang, being the most targeted one. He simultaneously built maximum security prisons, with control mechanisms and security features that surpassed American prisons by far, and this is where the most notorious gang members were incarcerated. At some point during that crackdown, one police officer was killed by a gang member, and in response, President Bukele declared a state of emergency, and sent 5,500 soldiers to surround the gang members' headquarters, and face them head-on. In short, he did what many said was impossible, and were not willing to do, that is rounding up notorious gang members, and putting them all behind bars, in a crackdown that saw him jail around 70,000 criminals, and thus successfully get back the country from gang control. So, Nayib Bukele wants to export this model to Haiti, and he is sure that it will definitely work in the Caribbean country, since it worked in his country, and in any case, some South American countries have started implementing this same policy in dealing with gangs, with the latest one being Argentina, which after President Milei's order, has begun a tough crackdown on the country's gangs. With that said, and considering the fact that President Bukele's model oversaw a 92% reduction in homicides in El Salvador, are you in support of the export of his ruthless model to Haiti? Leave your thoughts on this in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe before leaving.